So major political developments is our breaking story at this hour. The former apartheid-era President FW de Klerk has died at the age of 85. He succumbed to cancer this morning. He passed away peacefully at his Fresnaye home. De Klerk is survived by his wife, Elita, his children, Jan and Susan, and his grandchildren. The foundation says the family will announce funeral arrangements in due course. So let's get your reaction then to the news of the passing of FW de Klerk. Pieter Groenewald from the Freedom Front Plus joins me now. Mr. Groenewald, good afternoon. Just your reaction to the news of the passing of FW de Klerk.
Good afternoon. I want, on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus, want to extend the condolences to the family and loved ones of Mr. FW de Klerk, and may they find comfort in our Holy Father. Mr. FW de Klerk was a controversial politician. Not everybody agreed with him, and it is well a fact that he has changed the political landscape in South Africa, and by that, in certain spheres he was very popular, and some other spheres it was very unpopular. The fact of the matter is that Mr. FW de Klerk did what he believed in, and he has changed South Africa. And I also think that if you look back at what happened since 1994 till now, that he was not satisfied that the outcome of what he envisaged for South Africa was the same. Nevertheless, may he rest in peace.
Let me ask you, Mr. Groenewald, to just reflect on the transition period as detailed as you can, but also as briefly as you can, given the time limits that we have. Perhaps around the time of the changes that were happening in the National Party in the late 80s, but culminating in that speech that he delivered in Parliament on the 2nd of February 1990. Just the pivotal role in the changes in the National Party and the government at the time, as well as the latter changes that were to be announced on February the 2nd, 1990.
I was in Parliament with that speech. Of course, it came as a surprise to even some of his own members in the caucus, and as a shock to many other peoples of South Africa. You must remember that in '89 there was a general election, and none of the campaign of the Nationalist Party had the indication that that is what he is going to do. So in that sense, I think it may have been controversial, but again, he went forward to do what he believed in, and in that sense, we can say that FW de Klerk did what he wanted to do.
And just in terms of his legacy, Mr. Groenewald, and sometimes it might seem unkind to be already assessing a person's legacy just hours after they passed away, but it is the reality of South African politics that this will be a conversation that will be happening. What is your take in as far as it being a mixed legacy? I like the fact that you upfront said he was a controversial figure, but who played a significant role in South African politics. What would be your input in as far as the debates that we know are likely to ensue in the coming hours, for instance, around the question of whether or not he should have been held to account for the atrocities that happened during the transition at the hands of the apartheid-era security forces, but also around his views on issues to do with whether or not apartheid was a crime against humanity?
Well, there were many issues. And I don't think it's possible to react on each and every one of those issues. The fact of the matter is that I am of the opinion that if Mr. FW de Klerk looked back at his legacy, is that is what he did not envisage. And I think and he actually said it, that he was disappointed in what happened after 1994 and the state of South Africa at this moment. So his legacy, as I said, is controversial. There were people who warned him that he shouldn't go the way and the road he took, that there should be more federal powers, but those are detailed issues. The fact of the matter is that I don't think, in the end, he was very proud on his legacy as a politician.
All right, let's leave it there. Thank you for your time this afternoon. That is Pieter Groenewald from the Freedom Front Plus there, reacting to the passing on of the former apartheid-era president and the second deputy president in the first cabinet of democratic South Africa, FW de Klerk.